My name is Katie and I'm on the product marketing team, but I work very closely with our designers as well as with our product team to understand feedback from designers and how we can improve our features and better build out the House Pro platform to make it really valuable for designers. So thank you so much for joining.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Michael, and I am on the client success management side. So I handle designer accounts in all of North America, and I work with them in the software integration and everything there is to know about it. And it's great to see the kind of evolution of House Pro and where it's come and where it's going.
Okay, great. So we have a full agenda. I hope many of you have also signed up for the next two sessions. We have our first session today, which is account fundamentals and CRM, and then we have sessions tomorrow as well as Thursday. So you can either attend them live or we will be sending out the recordings afterwards. So the topics we'll be going through today are setting up your account, everything you need to know when first getting started, how to integrate your calendar as well as with QuickBooks Online. We'll be covering online payments and taxes and how you can make sure that those are all set up correctly for you and working the right way. And then we'll get into lead management and tracking, customizing your lead sources, as well as building out really effective email marketing campaigns. So, Michael, I'll
Yeah,
hand it over to you if you want to start with the account setup.
yeah, absolutely. I'll go ahead and share my screen. And so here is just to point out, this is going to be a demo account that we're working out of today. And just kind of going through again all the steps of everything that is basically the account setup and integration. So here you should be seeing your House Pro on the back end. And this is your landing page for House Pro. And where you're going to find your settings is going to be over to the top right where it says your house. You'll click on it and we're going to go into settings. The nice thing is obviously this has changed probably in the last few months where everything was kind of in tile format, and now everything is going to be situated to the left here, as you can see. So as we go through, we have a variety of different settings and things that we can go ahead and talk about, and really kind of setting up the initial setup is also going to be connected to your business documents. So one of the things is making sure that you're on your profile side, that we go ahead and edit the profile settings. And what that is that's on the greenhouse. So that's your business's landing page and profile on house. And this is where you're going to be able to make information such as your street address um, connected to your documents moving forward on house. So a couple places to get that would be here on the settings where I could edit profile settings, or I could click here and click my company's name, and that would take me to the same landing page. Business documents, that's going to be your initial setup for anything documents moving forward. So that's going to be where, as you can see here, it's grayed out because on my profile page is where I would be making those edits. So they're on there moving forward. But this is where you're able to add in your logo, change and update it, refresh anything there, add any additional shipping addresses. So if you have a receiver that you want to add in that you're going to use regularly on projects, you would go ahead and do them in here. And then accounting is where you're going to go ahead and set up some additional information as it pertains to your documents and accounting items as well, such as um, sales tax, etc. So really the basis for setting everything up for it goes from starts in your house profile to get your address, linked so it syncs over to your house pro. Then you're going to go into business documents to do the general information here to set up your logo and everything as it pertains to there, shipping addresses and accounting. Um, Also, here in the settings, which you'd want to make sure that is added is your teams and team members and subcontractors. So when adding a team member, it'll show you here how many seats you have available and how many seats that you have used. So depending on your subscription, the numbers here will vary. And you'll be able to add as needed, depending on what you have available. Here you would go ahead and invite a team member. You can go ahead and put in the information for that individual, And what it's going to do is it's going to send them a invite via email and text. And then here, when we're setting up and customizing their roles, we would go ahead and select what we would like that individual to have access to. So if it's someone who's just going to have access to client communication, we'd want to remove all the financial aspects. If we want them to have QuickBooks integration, such as a bookkeeper or an individual that's going to be access to reports, we can go ahead and edit them as needed, and we would go ahead and send an invite, and then that would be sent off to that individual for them to accept. And then once they are done, it would go in here and it would show that they are an active team member once they has accepted the invitation. One thing to note is that you can change permissions on an as-need basis. So if someone needs to have things changed, you can go ahead and edit here and change their permissions at any time. Then with subcontractors, this lets you show them, you can again access sending and inviting subcontractors. If on the new experience here, you'd be able to invite a subcontractor as well. And what the subcontractors have is different visibility, such as having visibility to timelines within a project, the client information, but not the financial aspect, and daily logs and files. So that's what they would be privy to at the project level.
Great.
Excuse me.
We have a few questions that we've gotten.
Mhm.
Is there a way to have your showroom phone number versus the house phone number on documents?
Yes. So what you can go ahead and do is you can have it updated on your house profile page if you'd like it to change that um, moving forward. So if you don't want to have the house one on there, we can change that on the profile itself and make that adjustment just like the address.
Okay, great. And is this something that only the main account holder would set up?
Yes, great question. So yes, currently as it's set up, it's the admin is the only one who's able to set up these initial ones, do the invites, and have access to the profile. I know that there is on the roadmap to come down later to open that permissions up. So that's to be continued.
Okay, great. And then a question from Pamela. She's saying that many people are now working from home, not in a physical building. Do you still recommend having, a PO box, those sorts of details in the address?
That's really your preference. I mean, if you want to have something when you're on the House Pro, you don't have to actually have a physical address. You can change it to have just a city and state. So then as it moves forward, it would just be a city and state that'd be listed on your documents. It's whatever you'd like it to appear.
Okay, awesome. And then a few questions around whether subcontractors need to be members of House Pro.
No, they don't need to be members of House Pro. What happens is when you send out that invite, it's going to give them a unique login with their email address that'll have access to your business and the projects that you have assigned to them. So again, if it's going to be to a project of mine, the subcontractor would be able to have permission visibility of the timeline, daily logs, files, and the client general information on the project level. But they would be invited just the same way as a team member.
Okay, great. And can you add more than one admin?
So currently, not right now. There's not more than one admin on there. The permissions as it pertains to kind of the financial aspects with like QuickBooks Online integration and whatnot can be set up to have those permissions in the team members, but there is not currently a setup right now to have two admins or more than one.
Okay. And a few people don't see the option to add a subcontractor. Is that specific to your plan type?
So that would be subscription to your plan. So if you haven't migrated over to the new experience or are currently in a blended experience right now, then it wouldn't be showing until we've kind of finalized, moved you over fully to the full new experience. So this would just be the subcontractors would just be on the new experience option.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think that answers it for a few people. And then can you touch on having limited access for specific people? Like if someone wants limited access for a marketing manager?
Yeah, so what you would go ahead and do here, so like as we have these ones that are set up, depending on what you want them to have. So if you'd like them maybe to have just access to client communications, such someone just to manage leads as they come through, we could uncheck everything. If you don't want them to have visual tools either, then we can set this and save it, and that's what that team member would have access to. So if again, I can have somebody who, I want to have financial aspects. I could, bookkeeper, I could, select the QuickBooks and reports, time and expenses, etc. But maybe leave out the client communication because we don't, maybe that individual doesn't need to have the client interface interaction. But then again, you can change it up. I know that there's some designers who will have individuals who only have access to visual tools, so you can set that limitations there.
Okay, great. And I think that's something that we're working on as well, is making more specific
Correct.
permissions.
Correct. Yeah. So the permissions, like I mentioned before, regards to having access to profile, those are coming down. They're on the roadmap, so they'll hopefully be added soon.
Okay, great. And then we have a few people who are interested in learning about how you can get into the new experience if they're not currently there.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of some individuals will have a banner at the top that'll say test drive the new experience. That's where you can kind of start to implement and do a test project within your account. If you are not seeing that, you can call into our House Pro support. Or if you have a dedicated individual account manager, you could reach out to them, and then either our support team or your dedicated account manager can assist in seeing how we can get you migrated over or have the option. But if you don't see the banner at the top that'll say, then reach out to either our House Pro support by calling in or submitting a support ticket, or your dedicated account manager if you have one.
Okay, great. And then I think one more question. Is it necessary to have an EIN or IRS number for online payments?
Yes. So, well, when online payments, we definitely are gonna touch on that, and I can kind of go over that right now. Is It's through Stripe. So Stripe is going to do a verification, and one of the things that it's done is it'll walk you through. So you'll need to have that information for them to do a verification, but it'll all walk you through here. But Stripe itself will allow you to, it'll walk you through the steps in order to get yourself integrated, and then from there you'll be able to then, have the online payments, either ACH or credit cards. Then to note, there is fees associated with it. ACH is a 1% fee. That's a flat fee for that. And then for credit cards, it's 3.1%. And they can be offset to the client. So what happens is when you get this set up here, you're going to have the ability, it would then show the option for you to mark payments to be offset to clients for, either ACH, credit cards, or both. And you would be able to have that ongoing for your projects moving forward on the new experience.
Okay, great.
Yeah, perfect. So let's see, jump back over to business documents and accounting, seeing if I have okay, good. So this is going to be the sales tax option here, where you can set and create and add sales tax for you to use an ongoing basis. Um, some individuals have multiple taxes that they'll use, or specific ones to specific situations. And also too, you can select that services depending on your area are either taxable or not taxable. So you're setting that default message there, method there. And then, like I said, from here, you're able to add sales taxes as needed, depending on your specific county, state, region. You're able to add that so ongoing that when you do create documents through the projects, either proposals or invoices, you're able to set the appropriate tax defaults according to the payments and the items that you are um, situating on your proposal or invoices.
Okay. A, a few questions back on fees for clients. Is it
Mhm.
possible to standardize processing fees to clients instead of having to change the preference every time?
So when you can set it and default it that ongoing, every client would have that, set up. Um, that every project on the new experience will have the default setup. So if you standardize it, you don't have to worry about that. You can also check it on the if you're in a mixed experience, you'll need to check it on the project level as well, just as a backup, just to make sure that it's situated appropriately. But you can set that in the default. So when you upload and create your online payment through Stripe, it's going to then give you the option to default underneath it.
Okay, great. And then a question about whether House is going to start updating the sales tax automatically so it doesn't need to be manually done every year.
That is a great question. We can definitely, I think, add that, to our product feedback forms and request. As of now, it is just done manually because there are various, um, areas that have multiple, taxes or different taxes. So right now it's set, it'll be manually done. You can manually edit it.
Okay. And then do you have to select the sales tax on each invoice or can you have a default from what's most common for you?
It'll have a default, and then you can set it as such, and then when you're on the document itself, down at the bottom, it's just a toggle between. So it's like a drop down. You just change the drop down as needed, but you can default it. Yes.
Okay, great. And then just one follow up on the IRS number. So is it mandatory to have either an EIN or an IRS number?
When you walk through Stripe, I do believe that they're going to, because it's done through Stripe, our third party, they are going to request it. That is something that I would say go through the steps and see if there's another way for verification. But I know that they do, depending on what your business is, it might be either your personal social security number or an EIN. But they usually typically request it to do it as part of the business verification.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Um, Before I jump into integrations, Katie, did you want to touch on the certification?
Yes, let me do that. Let me share my screen here. Okay, so for those of you who haven't seen yet, we recently launched a certification, a House Pro certification for designers. So we're very excited about it. So if you are on the homepage, you can scroll down and here you'll see this call out for House Pro certification for Earn Your Credential. And if you click into it here, it will bring you to a landing page where we outline basically everything that we're going to cover over the next 3 days. So all the features that we think are really important for fully understanding House Pro and using it the best you can to really help your business. So it's broken up into modules that walk you through, some of these steps you'll see that Michael is going through today. Others will cover in the next few days. And for each one, there's a video link that will tell you how to do it with a little more content, as well as a link that you can follow to complete the task. So there are 6 different modules here that cover everything, team collaboration, design tools that we offer, time and expense. So again, all of this is also covered within this academy that we'll be going through, but once you've done the academy, it will be great to go into the certification and just complete all the tasks. And then you'll get a badge that will be added to your profile, as well as a badge that you can share on social media. So it's a really great way. I know we've gotten questions from different designers who aren't quite sure how to use some of the features, but this will walk you through them all and also just provide a really handy roadmap to know what to do first and where to get started. So I'll put the link to this right into the chat. But again, I think it will be a great follow up to the academy that we're going through right now. So we're very excited about it.
Yeah, it is very exciting, and it's great to have those tools and resources available to all of our designers. Perfect. So as we're moving forward, we're going to talk about integrations. So there's 2 types of integrations that House Pro has, and one is Calendar, and the other is QuickBooks Online. So with Calendar, you would find it again under that whole settings bar, and you go into integrations. What'll happen here is if your calendar is not connected, it'll have a button here that says connect calendar. And what it does is it allows you to connect your calendar to either Google, iCloud, Microsoft 365, Outlook, and Exchange. And then that'll allow you to link it automatically. And then as individuals, when you share your personalized booking link with them, either through the portal or outside, they'd be able to schedule meetings onto your calendar. They don't have access to your calendar, they just have access to your availability. And what happens is you have also different video conferencing integrations that you can do. It automatically will do Google Meet as a default, so you have the ability to do it that way. And then you can add in Zoom or Microsoft Teams or GoToMeetings if those are your preferred methods of screen sharing with your clients. So as you can see here, I've enabled Zoom. So when I send out my booking link, it will go ahead and have that Zoom enabled on there. So I can make it an easily Zoom meeting, and the client and myself will both have that meeting link there. Down here, you have your different meeting types. You can create a meeting type or you can change and personalize these. So if you don't want it to say phone call, if you'd like it to say something else, you can edit it, change the name, change how you'll meet. If there's specific ones, you can schedule, put your start time and end time, days that you're willing to, potentially meet, and the length. And you can always type in a meeting description as well. So that would be something that's defaulted. So when someone goes and does a phone call for the 30 minutes, and I can put in, initial meeting consultation, to go over, or do an introduction. I can put whatever I'd like it there. And you can do that with all of these if you wish to do so and make certain changes. With the editing settings here, like with this one, it's a video call, I can change it, to Zoom, Google Meet, 8x8, whatever I have integrated and synced up, I'm able to have that in my drop down there. Then also too, I have the ability to promote my video consultations on the house profile. So I can, toggle it off if I don't want that, if I'm just going to keep it, where I'm just going to share the booking link, with either messages coming through the platform or offsite, when I'm engaging with somebody through my own email, I can do that, or I can put the toggle on and it's going to promote the video consultations online. And again, I can edit that accordingly. And like here, we'll take 30 minutes to discuss your ideas and budget for your home renovation. This consultation is free with no obligation. So you can, again, change that this is not defaulted. You can change it to whatever you'd like it to say, if anything at all. And then if you ever needed to change, you can unlink your calendar here. So one thing to note is we can only link one calendar. So if you have multiple people trying to, that are needing to access it, I would suggest doing kind of a general, maybe email or calendar that it can be linked to. But right now it's one integration with one calendar, and then you'd be able to link everything here and customize it as you see fit.
Michael, do you just mind showing one more time how you navigated to that page?
Absolutely. So again, here it's under settings, and then I'm going to go to integration. So remember, everything here is on the side. I'm going to click integrations, and then I'm going to click on calendar. And again, if your calendar is not synced, it won't say that here. It'll have a blue button that says connect calendar.
Okay, great. There was, let's see, one question. Someone had said, Jody said when she goes to integration, Zoom is not an option. Should it be there for everyone?
It should be there for everyone, but again, I believe if you're on a mixed or the previous experience, I don't believe Zoom is on there. But what'll happen is there will be a box. They're typically, when under here, it'll say the video integrations. They'll be like these three will be clumped into one box underneath. For you to be able to integrate it, and you have to click on it and then select. But if you don't see that, again, you can reach out to our House Pro support team or your dedicated account manager, if you have one.
Okay, great. This is a great question, whether we can integrate scheduling into our website.
So that is a great tool. So you do have this personalized link that you can use. So if you do a website through House, you definitely can create a hyperlink to that. Also too, if you have, outside, you'd again be able to create a hyperlink typically on your website that allow individuals to use your meeting link. Absolutely. So you can just copy and paste it as needed. or where needed.
Okay, great. And so can you do multiple integrations for team members?
You can only integrate one calendar, but you can do multiple integrations for different, like, so Microsoft Teams, GoToMeet, you can add in multiple of these integrations, but only one calendar could be integrated.
Okay, got it. So there's a follow-up whether you could link Google Meet or Zoom, if you
Mhm.
can only link one or if you can do both.
You can do both, and you can set it also differently. So you can set, like, if I'm going to do the video call, I could change it here. You could edit the settings and maybe do video call, Google Meet, or however you want to do it. And then what'll happen is when they schedule it, then you can customize it there as well on the actual, once the client has scheduled the call, or within the settings themselves.
Okay, great. Let's just check Q&A. So Bethany said when she goes to integrate her calendar, it asks for an app-specific password. Would that be her Apple ID or would that be a new password?
That would probably be her Apple ID. So like when I connected my Google Calendar, it was asking for my Google ID and password.
Okay, great. Let's see. And then one other question from Lindsay, how do you select only one if you have multiple Google calendars?
So it would be when you're logging in, I think, when if they're connected to multiple Google emails, I would say that it should prompt you to select the appropriate one. If not, I would just suggest making sure that you're logging in with that correct Google email address, the correct Gmail address.
Okay. And so if someone has a calendar they're using for multiple purposes, like a child schedule on the calendar, is there a way so that will only read specific events basically on the calendar versus everything that you have there?
Yeah, yeah. So if you're thinking that, so if a client were to schedule, they're only going to see available times that are available. They're not going to see your calendar in itself. You on your end would then be able to see. So if I have a child sporting event at this time, and then an hour and a half later, I have a call with a client, that's how they'll show on your calendar. But the client themselves, when making the initial schedules, will only see that you have that available time slot available. They won't see anything else. They don't have access to your
Okay,
calendar.
right. And so if you are using your calendar for multiple functions, it's probably better to adjust the availability on your calendar side
Absolutely
versus.
correct. Yeah. So you're going to want to adjust the availability on your calendar side, and then also too within the settings here. So, if you only want to take a phone call between, you know, 12 and 5, you can do that, but you can also adjust it as well on your calendar side too.
Yeah. And then are you able to show how you can add Zoom and integrations? There's a little
Yeah.
bit of trouble for someone finding that.
So let's go ahead and see if it will remove it for me. See if it'll refresh. So this is, oh, so that's how it was going to look. See if it'll, I apologize. It's not letting me remove it, but you're able, once you, it should allow you to, when you click on it, then it should do the, let me see if it'll actually let me do it. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So this is how it would look. So, excuse me. There was a couple steps I had to do in order to remove it. But here's the steps on when you see this. So this is what it'll show. And then if you want to go ahead and hit add integrations, you would click on here. It's not showing the pop-up screen, but what it would do is it would say House Pro, and I can either click on Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or GoTo. And then once you clicked on those actual things, it's going to ask for your email address and your password to Zoom.
Okay.
And then as you can see
Okay,
here,
great.
as I typed in my Zoom password and login information, it automatically added it in here. And you would do the same for Microsoft Teams and GoToMeetings.
Okay. And then is there a way to see the public view of your calendar, like see what it will look like for clients?
Yeah, should be able to see. Let me bring that up. You should be able to see it here with the GoToMeeting link, and you'll be able to copy it and click on it. I'm just trying to see if I can show one. One thing to note is you can also see it here, sorry, in the lead section, and you can get your meeting link. And again, you can copy it here, and you'd be able to copy your public meeting link, and that would allow you to check it and log in. And what it would do is, it would just show what a calendar that says schedule a time on Michael's calendar, and you would show the times that I have available, and then it would have the client has to put in all their information in order to get that to share or to get that to send to you.
Okay. And then just a few more questions. So if someone wants to set up a discovery phone call, will the call go to our personal number or can you set it up with a business number?
So if you have whatever number you have situated on there, that's what it'll go to, whatever number you have on your profile page.
Okay, got it. So you can customize that however you
Correct.
like.
Yeah, you can still customize that. Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm just seeing if there were any other questions. So just to confirm, it only syncs with one calendar at a time?
Correct.
Great. Um, okay. Okay, I think we are good to continue. You're going to cover QuickBooks integration, right?
Yeah, I was going to touch on that right now.
Okay, perfect.
So QuickBooks integrations is in the same place where you have your calendar integrations. QuickBooks integrations, you can go ahead here, and what this does is there is a video and there's a 1, 2, kind of 1, 2, 3, 4-step process that it'll walk you through. We do have additional tutorials and videos. As it pertains to setting up QuickBooks and anything that you want to make sure that on the back end. One thing to note, or a couple things to note, is that House Pro is a one-way sync with QuickBooks Online. So whatever you create or feed into House Pro will automatically sync over to QuickBooks Online, but not the other way around. So if you go in and make changes on the QuickBooks side, it's not going to update in House Pro because, again, it's only a one-way sync. So a couple things to note with QuickBooks Online is you want to have the QuickBooks Online with purchase orders. That's the kind of the best one from my understanding as it pertains to making sure that you're set up correctly. You would, make sure, and there's a checklist that we can actually provide you as well, and assisting you with your setup on QuickBooks Online to kind of help, because there's things that you need to do on the QuickBooks side as well prior to integrating into House Pro. And if you need QuickBooks Online support on a regular basis, we do offer the ability for you to add on to your current subscription to have that readily available to you. If not, you can submit inquiries again through our support ticket if you run into any issues, or reach out to your dedicated account manager.
Okay, and there was a question here if there's a specific version of QuickBooks that's needed for this?
So it's QuickBooks Online, not desktop, and it's the QuickBooks Online with purchase orders plus.
Okay. Great. And is only the admin able to set up QuickBooks?
When you have the InQuick integration, the person that you have, like a bookkeeper, will have access and ability to see the integration with QuickBooks Online. So again, that goes back to the team settings where you can add in that QuickBooks, and your bookkeeper should be able to assist with that, or the individual that you give permissions to.
Okay, great. And I know you mentioned there is a QuickBooks specialist. If someone wanted to get in touch with that person, how would they go about it?
So again, if you wanted to, if there's a couple of different ways. So if you wanted to, you could fill out a submit support ticket, and that would allow you to submit a specific QuickBooks Online, because there's a specific QuickBooks Online dropdown. You can click that ticket, and then it would go to our house support team. If you wanted to have an ongoing support for, on a monthly, kind of a yearly basis, you can add it to your subscription for a monthly fee, and that would allow you, to meet with the actual QuickBooks Online specialist on a regular basis.
Okay, got it. And do you need to have an invoice in order for a document to sync with QuickBooks, or can it sync from a proposal?
It'll sync from a proposal as well. Typically when the payments have been added to it, but and you can actually manually sync as well. So on the new experience, things will automatically sync, or you have the ability to manually sync them if they don't automatically do it.
Okay, got it. For some people, they're not seeing the option to integrate with QuickBooks. Should everyone have that access?
Everyone should have that access on a subscription. If you're in the previous experience, it'll have it, and if you're seeing tiles, it should have its own integration section that you'd be able to see that. If you're not seeing the screen that I have here with integrations, if you're not seeing everything to the left, but if you are from Canada, we don't have the integration currently right now.
Okay, so there are a few people
Yes.
Here from Canada. Okay, let's see. And yeah, I know there are a few questions here from people who are having trouble syncing with QuickBooks. It's probably best just to try and reach out to that specialist.
Correct. Yeah. So submit a support ticket with that specific one. When you do submit it, it's going to allow you to create a support ticket specific for QuickBooks Online. That's one of the drop downs, as you can see, and you can, connecting with QuickBooks Online, reconcile other. You can type it in here, and it's going to go straight to our support team, who will be able to help to assist you in getting that fixed.
Okay, great. And then just one more question. If you could repeat again the type of QuickBooks Online that pros need to have in order to be able to integrate?
Yeah, it's the QuickBooks Online Plus with purchase orders.
Okay, great. And then a few questions on the new experience. Is there any additional charge to move to that new experience?
No, that's the wonderful thing. There's no additional charge to moving over to the new experience. Unless you need to add in multiple users or team members that are outside your subscription. But other than that, no, everything is the same.
Okay, great. So I think we've covered most of the questions, at least right now on QuickBooks. Feel free if anything else comes into mind to add it into the chat or the Q&A.
Yeah. So what we're going to do now
sorry, one more question.
Yeah.
Can purchase orders be manually synced to QuickBooks?
Yes.
Okay.
So what will happen is if they are synced over, you'll have the little green button. If not, it'll have a gray button, and it'll say that you can manually sync over the QuickBooks.
Okay.
Perfect. So what we're going to do now is we're going to dive into our lead and CRM section. So this section here under the leads tab, which is at the top, will show any type of communication that you have between either clients that are finding you through the house platform, or you do have the ability to add in leads. So if you get it from your website or you get it from a referral, you can go ahead and create a new lead here and add them all in here so you have that communication with them in your House Pro. So everything is in a one-stop shop for you. So you're not having to continually go to multiple spaces to figure out, oh, where was that email or where was it at? You can keep everything centralized for yourself here. As you can see here, I have a opportunity here that's going to have the information for me here. I'm going to have a quick overview so I can see, if this one came through the platform, I can see where it's at. That I can see any messages and correspondence that we've had between either the pro and myself. I have notes. Those are privy to just me. So if I wanted to create a note on this specific individual client that I'm working with, something that resonated or stood out, files, and then on future tradings, you're going to learn about takeoff and proposals, that you do have the ability to utilize those and create those from either the lead space or the project space. But in going through here, there's actually some great a great new tool that we just have rolled out, which is the lead questionnaire. So when you're in here and you go to more actions, you'll have a lead questionnaire that you can create. So you have that intake form that you're able to create with a client, and you're able to view, and you're able to go down the list and see what I want to do. So do I want to have, what property is this? If I don't need that, I can toggle that off. If I want to, priorities for the project, you can really customize this. Confirmation text, you can change confirmation title, and then you can save this to however you want to be. And then when you go back to your lead section, you can go ahead and share that with them. So as you're corresponding with them, I can quick share this questionnaire, and I can send the message out, and it would go to them with the general message that I have. You'll see that I sent it at this time here, and then the client would then be able to fill out that questionnaire, and it would come back to me with all their information and their answers, and you're able to correspond that way. One of the great things again too is you do have the ability to share the link. So if you decide, oh, I'm going to go ahead and share it, outside of House Pro, which we don't typically recommend, but if you do just need to do that, you can. You can go ahead and copy the link here, or you can simply select email, and I can pick the lead I want to pull from, and then I can go ahead and to create that and send that off to them. As mentioned before, you can import files and leads and things like that. So you can import everything through here. The idea for this, which is really great, is it's, again, a one-stop process of information for you to manage the clients that are pre-project, and you're able to move through them by changing the stages, adding additional information as needed. You can go ahead and, move them from a lead stage to a project stage, and then all that information is going to travel with that individual in the project stage, and then you're able to move through there and start the project management process there. But you can have the initial here. You can keep everything situated for yourself.
Okay, great. So a few questions we have here. Can you add a lead manually onto this page?
Oh yeah. So you can hit add lead, create a new lead. I'd then be able to put in if I wanted to, create a new client, lead details, kitchen. I can assign it to different team members. So if there's someone else that wants to do it, you can, and then you can just create that lead, and then that lead's going to come in through here, and I can add in additional details for this specific client. So I can add in their email address, their primary number, their address, They're expecting, anything that I want to add, I can be as granular as I'd like to in regards to this. And then this is if, again, you are creating this on the lead stage. So if you're working it and you haven't confirmed the project yet, then you can add them in here manually and work them accordingly, changing the stages and doing all of the questionnaires, proposal, mood board, everything else that you have here at your disposal, you can make for them.
Great. Yeah, this questionnaire is something we just launched within the last month or so, and we're very
Yeah.
excited about it. I know there was a question around whether you can customize more of the questions. So right now, the ones that Michael showed are the ones that are customizable, but we do have it in our plans to be able to customize more, to add new questions, all of that to make it a little bit more flexible.
Yeah. So as you can see here, like I can change, add things, change things, and then this is where the client puts it in, but I can toggle things off, toggle them on.
And is there a way, Michael, to put that questionnaire form in your Houzz website?
Yeah. You'll be able to take the link, and again, you can embed it into a hyperlink on your profile. Excuse me, your website.
Great. Let's see. Are there any other questions about that? Can you just show one more time again how you get to the questionnaire?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're on your landing page in Houzz Pro, you're going to go to your lead section, all leads, and then it's going to be under the more actions portion here. This is going to give you 2 items to share that you have the potential to share. So you've got your lead questionnaire. I can view and edit it. I can email straight from here, so I can pick that lead I want, and it's going to go right to it. I can copy the link and go and embed it on my website, or send it outside of Houzz Pro. And then the other thing here is share your meeting link. So that's your calendar link there. If you're inside the lead itself that you're working, you would then be able to, with the email addresses, as long as the email address is there, you can type that in, and then you can send in the questionnaire. I can, email the questionnaire, copy the link, or send it off in here. And then the questionnaire would go there.
Great. Awesome. And then can you talk a little bit about how you can get leads?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I wanted to just quickly say is when you're in your messages sections, if you want to know if your client read it or sent it, this sent little button will move to read once they've read it. So you have that in your pocket there. So with leads are part of our ultimate package primarily. So what that does is it allows you to have a specific marketing area that you can market in, depending on where you're at in North America, and then that would allow you to with our ultimate package, you'd have the software and all the all the tools on the back end, and then you would have the ability to market in a specific territory that you want, and you'd be able to then potentially show up in the directory. You would then be featured on the platform on the Get Ideas page, and then you'd have the ability, based off of your lead settings, you'd have the ability to receive leads then through the platform when an individual comes on board and does a project inquiry form, and then would be sent to you depending on your location and the services you have selected.
Okay, great. And then are you able to send this form to clients as well?
This intake form?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can hit the copy link, and that'll have the link for you to share.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks for all the questions.
Yeah, this is great.
Let's see. Oh, this is a good question. Is there a way to set a follow-up date?
So right now, so a follow-up date to remind yourself, or
Yeah, yeah, some sort of, I assume that's in the question, some sort of reminder if you haven't heard back.
so if you haven't heard back, you actually can snooze the lead, and then what it'll do is it'll come back to you in the time frame that you put. So if you haven't heard back from them, or you want to follow up at a different time, you just want a reminder, you can have the snooze, and then that'll go through. And then if you ever needed to know where they were at, you would be in the all lead section, and then you'd have your snoozed ones down here. But what'll happen is once the time frame comes up for that snooze lead, it would go back into your active or new file.
Okay, great. And I know you showed that little icon if the message was sent. Does it
Mhm.
change if the lead or your client has read it?
Yes, yes. So that's what I was pointing out. So once the client has read it, then it'll say read, and it'll actually, if you hover over it, it'll give you the time stamped as well.
Okay, great. Um, Another question here, Hannah was saying that sometimes in Houzz, when she goes to get an email address for a client, it doesn't pop up, even if she's used it automatically. Do you know, does it pull from your contacts or is it something you have to copy in?
So when you're in your lead section, it's not going to necessarily show the client's email address there. All your client's information would be under the Manage tab, then selecting Clients. And then if you wanted to have all your clients' information here, all their email addresses would be there. You can search them. If I wanted to incorporate my lead ones, I would be able to click Show Leads and then incorporate them here as well. So then I'd be able to see the client's information, the full client information.
Okay, great. Um, and a question for Mary, whether you need to have a Gmail email address to send anything from Houzz.
You do not have to have a Gmail email address. Houzz does integrate with Gmail, so you can have your extension incorporated. So it allows you to, anything from Gmail will, from like the clients that you're working with or any emails will then integrate into that specific messaging section. But you can have any email address because it would be whatever your main email address is, whether it's Gmail, Yahoo, whatever you would like it to be, or whatever you have. That's the email address that you can use.
Okay, great. And do you mind just showing one more time that icon that changes when someone reads a message?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're in all leads, or you're in the lead itself, excuse me, you're going to go ahead and when you see in your messages sections here, so I can either, if I want to see all my messages that I sent the client, if there's multiple, it's going to be in the exact same spot. So it's going to have the client's name, the time I sent it, and then the email. And then if you can see, you'll see that little pop-up. Then what'll happen is when this turns into red, READ, then there will be this little pop-up box will then show the timestamp that the client read it. And that'll be in
Okay, great.
the lead itself. Yeah.
We had a question from Lindsay. She said that under leads, one of hers has a blue check mark next to verified. What does that mean?
So verified typically could be from if the lead was verified through our concierge service. So we do have a concierge service with our packages where they will go on and do a warmer lead for you. So they'll interact, they'll engage with the client, make sure that they're kind of asked those preempted questions before they send that lead off.
Got it. Okay. So it's been like vetted basically through our
Yeah,
team.
pre-vetted. Yeah.
Um, and then is there a way to customize the columns that are shown when there are headers like, clients, leads, vendors?
Oh, like in here?
No, I think on the screen that you're on right now, if there's a way to customize what's being shown.
So currently right in this stage in the CRM portion, there's not a way to add in like additional columns that you can do on the new experience, such as in your documents. It is right now just that. But if you do have any feedback, definitely you can always either talk to your dedicated account manager or submit the product feedback request if there's something that you feel that we should have.
Okay, great. And then do you mind just speaking to that? There's a call out on the bottom left of your screen, Get House Pro for Gmail, which it refers to
Mhm.
our Gmail extension. Do you
Yeah.
mind just giving a little shout out to that?
Yeah, so that is again what I had mentioned is yeah, you have that extension. So if you were to get the House Pro Gmail as well, it would allow you to then integrate with your Gmail extension. So basically, anytime that a client were to email you outside or message you as it pertains to that specific client and project, then it all just kind of gets captured and lands into your message section. So it's a very easy way for you to be able to manage everything that's coming through, see everything, kind of all in one stop, stop shop, in one place again. So it's just like the CRM's created, but for the email access in regards to Gmail. So you're able to keep everything very organized and integrated into both.
Okay, perfect. And then just one more question on leads. So for some leads, if they're showing a phone number,
Mhm.
it looks like they may have left a voicemail. Is that the case? And is there a way to retrieve that voicemail?
So if you ever see like a phone call from here, and it has, it'll say, a minute and some seconds, or it'll say 52 seconds. If you do see that, the phone call and voicemail would be on whatever phone it's being routed to. So your call tracking number is what they're calling in with, and then it's routed to whatever um, the um, the number that you have on file connected to it, and then that voicemail would then be on your phone itself. So a lot of times you can go on and see and say, okay, let me look at this number. I don't recognize it, but I can go ahead and show that I at 12:10 on May 11th, and I can go through in my phone my call log activity and match it up and verify it there. So it would be on your own call log. So any voicemails or anything like that would be on your either if it's your personal cell phone or business phone. That's where the voicemail would be.
Okay, great. Um, and then one question about having a global company that works worldwide. Can you add in leads from other countries?
I mean, you'd be able to add in the leads specifically. You'd be able to create the clients. You should be able to change, their information, like their addresses and such, depending on where they're at. The only thing is the software portion of it is only capable depending on where you're at. So if it's Canada, like North America, it would only be able to the project management portion would only be able to operate in that functionality.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think that covers our questions for now on leads and CRM.
Perfect. So I think the final point to talk about today is going to be another great tool that you have available, and it's our email marketing campaign that allows you to through here under the marketing tab, you're able to go to email marketing. And what this does is it allows you to create campaigns such as a monthly newsletter, if you want to send something out during the holidays, and it mass emails the clients, this information, so you can come through here, create client lists, create a newsletter. We have the ability to create email lists here. So what it does, it's going to pull in from your leads here or your clients, whatever you've integrated into the system. You can go ahead and do it a couple of different ways if for creating the system lists. So I can either go to clients and add a new client. I could import my client CSV list. So I could do that kind of in a large, chunk, and then have that all just kind of imported into my system here, or you can do it within the email marketing. It's kind of nice just to do it kind of in the client section. So you get that done, you have it all in there, and then you can come through here and create a variety of campaigns. So you have the ability to utilize the House Pro templates. So I either have my templates here, or House Pro has these templates that are initial kind of setups for you. They are changeable. It just kind of helps you get the ball going. Some of these things that they say, like a project spotlight, requesting client reviews and feedback, holiday ones, lead follow up. If you wanted to send something specific, or monthly newsletters. When you go ahead and you click on one, you can go ahead and open up, and it would say, okay, this is what I want to use. I want to create a campaign. I want to do, monthly newsletter. And then again, campaign type would be newsletter, and then I'm going to go ahead and create it. And then what it does is it's going to allow you to, again, make it very much your brand, your business. You're able to add in your logo here. You're able to change this imagery. I can go ahead and upload an image. I could use stock photos if I wanted to. I can come through here and change the font, the size. I can change everything, the color of the text. I can really write things out. I can hyperlink. So again, so say if you wanted to, do something and with that intake form, you can put the hyperlink there or something to your website. You can do it there. You could do it on the image itself as well. So if you have something that's maybe to your showroom or your business website, you can, click on add hyperlinks to the images as well. And what you're able to do is continually add items in here. I can add in additional, cubes. I could say I want, to duplicate this section because I want to add in another one. I want to have in 4, not 3. And then I'd be able to go through and again, customize everything, change the photos, and then I can save it for future releases, future ones. So if I have a monthly newsletter format that I want to save and have that be all the time, I can go ahead and add it to my templates. And then once I'm done and I'm ready to send this, I can continue to send. And then what it's going to do, it's going to give me a visual view of it. So if everything's ready and I'm happy with it, then what I can do here is it's going to come from my email address. So it'll be personalized to you and your email address. I can select the recipient. So if I wanted to, select all my clients, that I have in there and say I've got, 200 clients, I can go ahead and, submit it to that, whoever I want it to be. And then I can go ahead and write in the email details so I can tell the subject line. And then before you want to do it, if you wanted to test the email address, you can enter up to 5 email addresses to test first before sending it out. But if everything looked good and you're ready to go, you can go ahead and hit send campaign, and that would send it off to all the people in your list. And then one of the great things is what will happen is your campaigns would be here under your campaign section, and it actually allows you to see how many people you sent it to, how many people opened it, clicked. You get analytics and metrics to it, which is really great because you're able to see kind of the engagement level. You're able to see who's opening it, who how many people are opening it, and what is really maybe intriguing, maybe something there was a spike 1 month and you did a newsletter. You can kind of see what's going on there. So then you'd be able to get those analytics from your campaigns.
Great. Yeah, this has been a really great addition. I know there have been a lot of requests for it, whether you're emailing leads or whether you're emailing clients. So I'm glad to hear it. Sounds like some people within the chat have used it and found it really helpful too. A few questions we have. Can you add a lead or a client to a list from the lead or the client detail screen?
So like if you're on here in your lists, so what'll happen is there's two. So if you whatever leads you have in your system, you'd be able to do it there. If you wanted to, again, create an email list, and if we name it that leads to, you can create the list, and then that'll allow you to add in new context. So you can add from an existing list, import, create a new file. So if you say there's a handful of people, or you're doing a smaller focused one and you wanted to manually add these individuals in, you could do that as well. Or again, you can do bulk adding. But what will happen is the system will generate lists for you based off of your leads that are in CRM. So what the count that you have in there will change depending on how many leads are in there. And then that lead list you could use when sending out a campaign.
Okay, awesome. Let's see. So question from Evelyn, if you can create your own template and then import it.
So right now the templates are just the, you can create here, but I believe it's just, so you wouldn't be able to necessarily upload. You can drag some of the content probably from yours and add it in here. So you can manually create a template or something that or upload maybe some of the images or information that you have if it's kind of in a depending on how it's laid out. But you should be able to. You could probably customize it as much as possible and then save the template.
Okay, great. Let's see if there are any more questions on email marketing. Can you upload the newsletter into social media?
The newsletter. I
Like
don't believe.
anything that you, yeah, any emails that you create here, can you also connect them to your social media
So
account?
you can connect them to your social media account. So you do have the ability at the bottom to add in a variety of social media aspects. So it automatically defaults, and then there's several more outside of that that you can go ahead and add as you are needing.
Okay, so you can add your Instagram account, for
Mhm.
instance, to the bottom of the newsletter, but at
Yep,
the moment you can't share this on
correct,
Instagram. Okay,
correct.
okay, great. Um, let's see, just a few shout outs for you, Michael, that you're awesome. Some people would like you
Oh,
as, as their
thank
account
you.
manager.
You're all too kind.
Um, are we able, this is a good question I know we've heard before, are we able to schedule the emails to be sent in advance?
So right now, automation is not an option, but I know that's something that we've talked about, and I believe is potentially on the roadmap.
Yes. Okay, great. And are you able to import email addresses for people, leads, or clients that are not already in house?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can add in client information when you add in a new client. So let me exit out of here. If we go into, if you're doing it in the lead section or if you're just manually doing it, so if you did it in leads and if we created a new lead, um, excuse me, is this coming up? You can go ahead and add in anybody's. They don't have to be through Houzz. They could be somebody, again, it could be a referral that you're working. It could be they don't have to have a profile. They don't have to have a login to Houzz Pro to manage them in any capacity or any of these tools that you have.
Okay, great. Another question, sort of on the same page as social media, but can you link a newsletter to your Houzz page?
So on the profile side, we don't currently have the ability to have any type of clickable links necessarily. You can, if you have a Houzz website, we would be able to potentially um, hyperlink that, but not this time.
Okay, great. Let's just see what other questions. Can you send the newsletter through text?
No, currently it's just on the email,
Okay,
but it can be viewed
let's
on desktop and mobile.
yes, that's a great suggestion though.
That is a really good feedback.
And then a question from Evelyn. This is going back to leads that
Mhm.
sometimes when she receives leads, the date and the time is off. Do you know if there's a reason why or what date and time is highlighted there?
Well, sometimes it can depend on when the lead has come through, like if they initially set it on, depending on when they did it. So like this one, like if it came through on May 11th and my activity, is the next day, maybe it came through the next day. It could have been just on when they sent it. So like this one, looks like it came through on May 12th, but it was initiated on the 11th. So there's a variety of things that could happen with that. Is if concierge is trying to reach out to them to help with that warmer lead, that would put just kind of a slight off with that. It could be, again, the time that they did it. If they did it late at night, while they're kind of relaxing or decompressing, and they submitted it could show a day off, just depending on when they actually submitted it, or if it's over the weekend.
Okay. Um, and then how does a lead convert to a client?
So if you're wanting to, if you're in here, like you see here, so I've got this new custom home. for the lovely Jack Sparrow. And if I wanted to, if I was set and it was ready to go, I can convert this lead to a project. And then from there, it would go, it would ask me some information, and then I can convert the lead itself over into a project. And then that will live in my project sections, and it will be removed from the lead section and into my projects. However, what will happen is in my lead section, I will show one, so these ones are in there. So it'll show me the clients that I've moved from lead to project.
Got it. Okay, let's see, just a few more questions. Back to your business profile question from Pamela. If a house number is there and not a business number, does that interfere at all with tracking?
So if you have a number, and if you are having in your contact information, if you have a trackable phone number, that is where you're going to get the tracking. If this number was not activated, then it would just have my business number on here. So what happens there is it just would then show my business or my personal or whatever phone number I'd like. That would not track in the system. So you wouldn't
Okay.
get you wouldn't have you wouldn't have the numbers show up here if you didn't have the call tracking number.
Okay, great. Another question here on leads from Jennifer. Does Houzz differentiate the lead sources for leads that land on your website and send a contact request versus those that send a request from a Houzz profile?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have a Houzz website, that's hosted through Houzz, and someone fills it out there, the lead source will then show up here. So like here's a direct message, phone call. If it was a project match inquiry, it would say Houzz project match. If it was website, it should show website, or it might say Houzz other sources. And that allows you to differentiate which ones are coming through your the website.
Okay, great. Can you show if there's a way to change your username?
So if you wanted to be on here, you could go into username, and I can edit my username here, and you can edit it. Sorry, not logged into it, but I would be able to edit my username there. If I needed to edit my email, I could do that as well.
Okay, perfect. And then when you were showing earlier, there was that icon next to messages when you can see when a message was read. Does that
Mhm.
show for email as well?
Oh yeah, so like if this is sent via email, or text if the client has opted in, so that would show, yeah. Primarily this is email, so it'll show when the email was sent and read.
Okay, great. Um, let's see, another question for Pamela. Is there, um, on lead stage, I think this is a little bit of a feedback, but also a question, if a lead has ghosted you or just not replied to any of your,
Hmm.
times reaching out, is there any lead stage there that
Yeah,
you
so
would suggest?
what you'd want to do is I would suggest if you've exhausted everything and you've gone down that route, and you've made, House typically recommends that in that first week to week and a half, 6 different attempts, with that individual. If you've exhausted it, then you can come to more actions, and then I can archive the lead, and then it'll prompt me to say, well, why am I archiving it? So it lets our system know. It lets our, engineering team know. It lets everybody kind of know, hey, this is what's going on. I've reached out to them, and I've been unable to reach them.
Okay, great. And I know, on that note, one other thing we have discussed and heard feedback on is making customizable lead stages.
Mhm.
So that's potentially something that will be coming, in case your lead stage doesn't fit into one of those buckets that we have there right now.
Correct.
Um, okay, and then there's a question here from Julia about whether we're still doing project match for leads.
So project match is the project inquiry form. So for individuals in our ultimate package, they would get that. So if a client fills out the project match inquiry form, then you would, depending on your marketing and your area and your lead selected, then you could potentially receive through the project match. They've also integrated it where we have select match as well, where clients are shown individual images of a variety of, so if they're doing a bathroom remodel, they may show them 16 different photos of a bathroom, different various bathrooms, where the client can go through and select ones that resonate with them. And then if the client has selected yours, it'll be flagged as that when it comes through, and it'll have the image of the item that they selected, and it'll say house select match.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much for all these questions. Let's just see. So if you reply by SMS through Houzz, what number will come up as the person who's sending that SMS?
It should come up as yours, your business's text message. It should show up as your text message coming through.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Let's see what else we have here. Now we just have about 10 more minutes. There was a question about whether we're going to be showing the blog feature. I don't think it was originally on the agenda, but if we have a few minutes, we could pull that up.
Yeah, let me see. It's under, so the blog feature would be under your business website that's if you're hosted your website through Houzz, we would actually be able to explore and add in the ability to add in a blog onto your Houzz profile page. Excuse me, Houzz hosted website. So through here, if you're interested in looking at Houzz maybe doing a website for you, if you are in our Essential or Ultimate package, you do get a website that is inclusive into your pricing. So it could be either one that matches whatever you have now, but just Houzz builds it out and you point the domain name to Houzz. So you don't have to incur any additional costs outside of Houzz, and keep it everything situated for you and streamlined. And then if not, Houzz can assist you in just building out a whole new website for you. And we have a website design team that'd be able to walk you through that. And then be able to get you all situated with that. And these are just some templates for you to view. They're not set in stone, meaning if you like just kind of the general layout, then you can go through with our website design team and they can really customize it for you. And the blog feature would be embedded into your Houzz website, Houzz hosted website.
Awesome. Yeah, that's something we know also has been really helpful, sort of in line with the email marketing templates and content there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the nice thing is, again, with the website that it's built through Houzz, you can take that intake form and you can integrate it into your, Houzz built website, and the nice thing is there's no additional cost to meeting with a website design team. As long as website's part of your package, you can meet with them. There's no additional cost, and they'll build out the website to your specifications.
Great. Yeah, there are some comments here. Barbie has a Houzz website and loves it. So yeah, the websites come out beautifully.
Yes, and like Katie said, there's no limitations to the blogs and whatnot.
Yes. One question, I'm not sure if you're able to answer this, Michael, but if you are getting leads through Project Match, do you have a sense of how many other designers are getting the same leads?
So when a project match inquiry comes out, it is sent between 3 to 5 professionals that match that individual. So that's kind of something you can go off of that because again, various situations where some people might be too busy to take on a lead, or it might be out of their, they're not so potentially interested. So kind of gives the client a good success rate to connect with somebody. And definitely, if you are in an Ultimate package and you just want to kind of review some things, you could definitely sit down with your dedicated account manager who can, discuss some, strategy for you.
Okay, great. Let's just see. I know we only have a few minutes left. When you add, when you add the questionnaire into a website built through Houzz, can you add the whole form directly or do you just add a link to it?
As of right now, I believe it's just the link that would be hyperlinked into it, so it can go because it would be going through the different stages of those pages. So the um, the only thing that's kind of initial form is the contact us, kind of like initial fill out, but the intake form um, would be um, would be just as a hyperlink.
Okay, great. So thank you again so much, everyone, and hope to see you tomorrow.